Boo! I caught you this time, huh? I heard you come in. Welcome, children, back to my study. Has it been a year already? My, how time flies when you're having fun. Welcome, and thank you for joining me again on this most hallowed October evening. I appreciate you coming by because I have a tale of terror for you. Well, this one's a little different. This is the legend of the Lambton worm, otherwise known as the Battle of Sir John. It depends on who you're talking to. Now, the legend dates back all the way to the 1400s and tells the tale of a giant worm, otherwise known as a dragon. It's a very old word for dragon. Now, this old worm emerged from a well one day and was so large it could wrap its tail around a large hill 10 times, and it was up to Sir Lambton, John Lambton, to put a stop to it. There's actually a jaunty tune that goes with it. I believe I'll sing it for you now, just to let you know this song was written a very, very long time ago and uses some pretty archaic language, if you ask me. There are certain words that you might be confused on, like coo, which means cow. It's just an odd pronunciation of cow, so, you know, like the coo is out in the field, something like that. Bairn, which is a very old word for children. I could change that to children or kids, but in the rhyme scheme, bairn works a lot better. So just bairn with me. See? Sorry, you're already there. So just bear with me as we get through the Ballad of Sir John, or the Legend of the Lambton Worm. Sing along if you know the lyrics at home. If you do, I'll be mightily impressed. One Sunday morn young Lambton went a-fishing in the weir, and catched a fish upon his hook he thought looked very weird. And what a kind of fish it was young Lambton couldn't tell. He wasn't fast to carry it home, so he hoyed it down a well. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. Now Lambton felt inclined to go and fight in foreign wars. He joined a troop of knights that cared for neither wounds nor scars. And off he went to Palestine, where weird things he befell, and very soon forgot about the weird worm in the well. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. But the worm got fat and growed an awful size. He with great big teeth and great big gob and great big googly eyes. And when at night he crawled about to pick a bit of news, if he felt dry upon the road, he'd milk a dozen coos. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. This fearful worm would often feed on calves and lambs and sheep, and swallow little bairns alive while they laid down to sleep. And when he'd eaten all he could and he had had his fill, he crawled away and lapped his tail 10 times round Penshaw Hill. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. The news of this most awful worm and his weird goings on soon crossed the seas, got to the ears of brave and bold Sir John. So home he came and catched the beast and cut him in 2 halves, and that soon stopped his eating bairns and sheep and lambs and calves. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell yous all about the story. Wisht, lads, had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. So now you know how all the folks on both sides of the weir lost lots of sheep and lots of sleep and lived in mortal fear. So let's have one to brave Sir John, aye, that kept the bairns from harm. Save coos and calves and making halves of the famous Lambton worm. Now, lads, I had me gob, that's all I know about the story of Sir John's clever job with the awful Lambton worm. I do love that song. Unfortunately, the real legend of the Lambton worm has a bit of a tragic ending. You see, Lambton was responsible for the worm. The story goes he skipped church one day to go fishing, caught an eel or lamprey-like thing, not knowing what it was, tossed it down a well and forgot all about it. He left his lands to go on a crusade. While on the crusade, as the song states, the worm grew and grew more ferocious, poisoning the well, sneaking out at night to steal cows and sheep and even little children or bairns. Remember Bairns, the song? Yeah, you remember. You were there. When he came back from his crusade, after hearing about how his lands had fallen into ruin, he consulted a local witch or wizard or secret robot from the future who knows all about the past. Whatever you'd like, it's your legend. So, he consulted this wizard, and the wizard said that he was to wrap his armor in spearheads all around. So basically he looked like a giant spear-covered porcupine, and was to find the beast wrapped around a rock near the river where he originally was caught. But the wizard gave him one enchantment, and that enchantment would protect him from the worm, but in order for the enchantment not to curse his entire family, he was to kill the very first living thing he saw after slaying the worm. So he hatched a plan. He told his father, "When I blow my horn 3 times, send the hunting dogs out first. That way I'll see one of them, I'll dispatch it quickly, that'll be the end of the enchantment, no curse befell him." So he went and he fought the worm, cutting it in many halves. The worm tried to wrap around him like it wrapped around the hill, but it couldn't do it. Because of the spikes, it started stabbing itself over and over and over again until Sir John got the upper hand and chopped it into bits. He blew the horn 3 times triumphantly to let his father know that he had won the day and defeated the worm. And his father grew so excited he forgot to release the dogs. His father ran to meet him, and he said, "Son, I'm so proud of you." "Oh no, I'm the first thing you see," or something along those lines. It's lost to history what he actually said. But Sir John couldn't bring himself to kill his father. So they released the hunting dogs, dispatched one of them, poor dog, but unfortunately, because his father was the first person and first living thing he saw, the Lambton family was cursed for 9 generations. Never to die in their beds comfortably, but always to die in most horrible, atrocious ways. Drownings, wars, famine, all sorts of things. Never to die comfortably for 9 generations. So, I hope you learned a lesson from that song and that story. For one, don't skip church to go fishing, or you'll have to fight a dragon one day. Or, don't shirk your responsibilities. Sir John shirked his responsibilities not once, but twice. He shirked his responsibility in skipping church that one morning to go fishing, and he got himself a worm. Also, he shirked his responsibility in not killing his father, which we can all pretty much agree was probably a good call. But don't shirk your responsibilities. And if you ever fight a dragon one day, you may have a really, really cool song written after you. I hope you all have a very, very happy Halloween and you enjoyed my rendition of the Ballad of Sir John. Until next year, happy Halloween!